Sorry, this narrative is kind of nothing. I mean, I'm trying, but like this grandpa stuff is just kind of cliche, and a lot of the characters are pretty cliche. And I feel like there's a lot of suspending of the disbeliefs, as I don't like the story, or that I'm saying that there wasn't a lot of work put in, because there was. This is obviously a labor of love, and you can tell. It's just that, I don't know, it's not really doing it for me, you know? But I haven't finished it yet. I gotta keep going. You can keep on going, keep on trucking. If I had anything to say, it's mostly that, I feel like we could have used a better reason to not immediately call the police. Like, I mean, he said that they're being, like, chased by, like, a band of misfits. So maybe it would have worked a little bit better had I have gotten there. Instead of while they were recuperating, like, as soon as they had gotten there and they were getting chased still. And then because I was there, I would also be attacked by the people who were attacking them, and then they defend me or something because I'm an innocent bystander. I don't know, just to keep it a bit more interesting than this. And it also gave me less of a reason to not immediately call the police since they protected me. Just, you know, just thinking. I'm not trying to say that that would be better. Yeah, just, you know, off the top of my head, I feel like that would have gone through with me specifically a bit more smoothly. Because I'm not a fan of how that whole situation is handled. I also feel like it was very front-loaded with how we, you know, you basically get a moment to talk with every character individually, pretty much. And I feel like that is like a necessary thing in one hand, but also like it felt very kind of forced. And when you're forcibly being like shoved into each character on the fucking tracks, it's kind of less, whatchamacallit, it doesn't feel so natural. I feel like, whatchamacallit, because that whole situation, when you think about it, is really weird. Because I woke up in a room where one guy was watching me, and I don't think he really ever explained to me why he was watching me, other than, you know, he's trying to keep an eye on me, make sure I'm alright. And then he carried me out of the room, I guess, to regenerate, and didn't really explain anything to me. And then it was like, hey, yeah, food's almost ready. And then proceeded, just, when I asked him to put me down, just kind of left. Instead of, you know, being like, hey, let's go to the dinner place right there, because it's going to be ready. Wherein another character was like, yo, what's up? Here's the thing. I'm going to go make dinner. Let's go eat dinner. And then he took me to the dining hall. To which I immediately talked to two more characters in the kitchen to eat, even though we were all there together. And they weren't really engaged. I mean, they already established they can have more than one character in a room, in a scene, talking to each other at once. And then we just kind of went into one-on-one conversations where no one else was saying anything, even though it was kind of implied that we were all in the room together. So it's just a little weird. I didn't really like that. Stuff like that, for me personally, really can take me out of things. Because it's just kind of the way I am. Where I don't like it when I have to suspend my disbelief more than I already do. Like, yeah, okay, in this world there can be demons, but the way that played out, combined with the way that the player character reacts to it all, is very not how humans react. You know. Me instinctively, I would have just immediately called the police. And then for her to be like, hey, what's going on? And then try to talk to a bunch of people laying on the ground. And then, like, be taken advantage of not once but twice, and then, like, pass out. Like, I'm not a fan of the pass out either, because passing out in literature is often used as a narrative device to essentially, like, we can't have a way, or it's difficult to write a way for people to react in a specific way that would allow the scene to go the way that we want it to. So people will use a cut like that, a pass out, a faint, a oh man, I lost consciousness, to essentially progress time and allow for a situation to be set up where the character wouldn't be there. This way you can allow for things that wouldn't normally happen. Because realistically, had I not passed out, wouldn't it make total and complete sense for her to ask them to leave? but because I passed out, they were free to make dinner, and now I'm having this flashback. I feel like it all feels very forced. I'm not a fan of that jump. The characters all feel very tropey, and that's also not a thing I'm a fan of. I'm not a fan when characters are pretty much just their trope. I mean, I haven't really dived in just yet. Like I said, I'm not very far into this. But we got edgy bad boy, we got the young boy, we got the older mature one, we got the seduce me guy, he was all flirty, and we got the silent big strong guy. Like, we hit all the fucking big boy archetypes, and it's like, well, what else do they have going on? You know, edgy guy just seems very edgy. Flirty dude seems really flirty, and he doesn't like it when you see past his flirties. Older mature guy is the older mature guy. Young kid is the young kid. And silent guy just was kind of there being silent, as they are wont to do. So, you know, these characters seem very limited right now. I haven't really gotten to know them very well, even though we've had enough time to establish them as characters. But I feel like in a situation like this, I should be able to tell their personalities just by their design alone, which you kind of already can do. So having a scene in which we establish the tropes again, because we have that already when we first are introduced to the characters for the first time, and they all kind of introduce themselves, it seems very unnecessary. It seems very forced, and I didn't care for it. That very intro scene when they're all waking up, I feel like is a much better way of establishing character through the means of showing and not telling, because you establish what's his face as kind of an asshole, edgy dude immediately, because he essentially just sees you and immediately forces himself on you, which is a great way to establish his character. And then you establish that the older, mature one is like, hey, cut that shit out, I'm gonna kick your ass. And you can establish his character right away. Then you establish the younger one right away by being like, oh man, I'm fucking confused and I'm little. The silent one is silent, which, you know, it's really hard to play that up and explain it, but there's ways to do it. Flirty guy flirts. You know, so you establish the characters immediately with that, in a way that was more of the showing and not telling, and then you go through a long thing that just really killed my interest of just Tim telling me how the characters are, and I was just like, ugh. So it kind of put me in a sour mood, and really took me out of the game, took me out of the story. And now again we're doing another flashback, which, you know, I'm not really far into this, and we're already flashing back again. I feel like it might have been better just to start off the story with me leaving my grandpa's house to establish that, you know, I hang out with him a lot and that we're close, instead of starting it off at school and then, you know, my grandpa drops me off at school. Once again, I'm not trying to make it say that what we have here is bad. I'm just thinking, you know, myself personally, what I would have preferred. I know my opinion isn't super, like, crazy or important or anything special. The most I can say is that I have written and published a book. It's not trying to fucking, you know, not trying to fucking flex or anything. I'm just trying to say that I have a decent understanding of literature. I read, like, a lot, and I analyze, like, everything, because I'm a fucking nerd and I like to do that. So I'm kind of reading into this more than I feel like I should, of course, because it's a game called Seduce Me. But, you know, this is kind of like what I like to do, and this is the whole point of, you know, why I want to start this show in the first place. And, well, yeah, you know, that's kind of where I am right now. It's my mental process. It's what I'm thinking. I don't hate it. I don't want you to think that I don't like this so far. Obviously, like I said, it's a labor of love, and you can feel that, and that really goes a long way with me. It was just like that last sequence is the thing I really don't like in media, so it really took me out. But, you know, the game's not done. They still win me back. I'm not really even gone. Like I said, I'm not hating this, because, you know, all things considered, dialogue is not... I'd say the dialogue's pretty good. I like the dialogue. It stays within the realm of reasons of real logic characters, because a lot of times in stuff you'll see that people don't talk like people, because writing dialogue can be very difficult for people. But this dialogue actually doesn't flow the worst, and I think it actually flows pretty decent, and I think it's pretty good. I like the dialogue. The artwork is a little... It's not really my kind of style that I like. It feels I mean, if I had to describe it specifically, it feels like people I knew back in high school who liked anime drew this way, and it doesn't really have its own unique style, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it doesn't have its own personality, and a lot of the art that I've seen and the designs so far really don't mesh with like this purple lacy thing in the bottom, you know, like the text box. It doesn't really match up with like the art style. I don't think the art style is bad. It's just not for me. And I think, you know, necks are a little bit long and proportions aren't, you know, exactly where I'd like them to be for myself. But I don't think it's bad. I do enjoy the art. Backgrounds can vary. Like, this background is obviously just a photo that someone took and threw a bunch of Photoshop filters on. But it's just for flashbacks, and black and white is just immediately to establish, you know. It's not bad. So, yeah. Dialogue's fine. Inner monologue isn't great. Once again, you might have been able to tell when I was reading it how fucking the way the dad acts was actually like annoying me and like pissing me off, because like, how am I trying to say it? I'm trying to articulate myself while also processing it, so that's why I'm kind of stumbling over my words, and I apologize if that's annoying you. It's kind of like, I can get that that'd be like a thing in real life of someone not wanting to talk about something and just kind of lashing out. But I feel like in this specific situation, like, it would make more sense for someone like the character of the dad to be like, I'm not comfortable with talking about it. And, you know, I'm not really ready. Like, I feel like he would be more mature about it, rather than immediately getting to like that anger and like, no, we are not talking about this. But it also fits within his personality to not do that. So, like, it's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird. I feel like you guys would also be able to tell that it's not, you know, the most smoothest thing. I also feel like the mom character is pretty much non-existent. She's nothing. And I get that she's not super important to the story, but I feel like that's an unused character thing that we can have going on. But hey, that's not what this is about. We're gonna get into it. So yeah, that's my thoughts right now, and that's kind of where I'm at. I don't really know why I started going off. Anywho, I just want to explain to you where I am right now. I don't hate it. I'm not really loving it. I don't think it's bad. It's not really for me right now. Let's keep going. See how this goes.